Hey everyone, today I will be explaining the case of SEC versus Goldman Sachs & Co. The case of SEC versus Goldman Sachs has a lot going on, but it initially boils down to Goldman Sachs was being accused of misleading investors about the Abacus 2007-AC1 mortgage-backed securities by not disclosing that the hedge fund Paulson & Co. bet against the product. Goldman Sachs settled in 2010 for $550 million without admitting any wrongdoing. Fabris Tor was later found liable for 6 of the 9 charges in 2013 and ordered to pay $825,000 worth of fines. The case highlighted the need for accountability in the wake of 2008 financial crisis. I will be explaining the pros and cons of the plaintiff SEC. To start off with the pros, public impact. The SEC's lawsuit against Goldman Sachs became a large landmark case in the aftermath of 2008 financial crisis. Secondly, large financial settlement. The SEC secured over $500 million in settlement. Lastly, setting legal precedents. The SEC demonstrated legal precedents for future security fraud cases. Now on to the cons. No admission of wrongdoing. SEC settled for $550 million. The settlement did not include any admission of guilt. It undermined the SEC's ability to definitely prove the Goldman Sachs wrongdoing in the court of law. Difficulty in proving intent or widespread of fraudulent behavior. Lastly, preference for settlements over trials, leading to less transparency and legal clarity. Critics argued that the SEC in many cases preferred settling cases quickly rather than engaging in the protracted litigation. This sometimes results in less transparency and fewer legal precedents that would have been settled throughout the court decision. On this slide, I will be explaining the pros and cons of the defendant Goldman Sachs & Co. Onto the pros. Legal team and resources of the company. As large as a financial institution, Goldman Sachs had significant legal resources, which helped in negotiating a settlement and defending its position. Secondly, no admission of wrongdoing. Goldman Sachs did not have to admit of any wrongdoing, which protected its reputation and could help minimize future legal risk. Lastly, settlement with the SEC only. The SEC settlement was civil in nature, meaning it did not result in any criminal charges or significant additional penalties. This helped minimize any future financial strain or regulatory oversight that could have resulted in serious legal outcomes. Next, with the cons. Reputational damage. The case brought significant public scrutiny and criticism, damaging Goldman Sachs' reputation and casting a shadow over its role in 2008 financial crisis. The SEC's lawsuit also drew attention to the firm's involvement in risky financial products. Secondly, long legal battle. Lengthy and stressful legal battle was this case, which lasted several years, leading to the significant personal and professional strain, including the public nature of the case. Lastly, financial damage. Goldman Sachs paid over $500 million in fines, one of the largest penalties in SEC history. My personal opinion on this could go both ways, but I necessarily believe that the SEC did the right thing with holding Goldman Sachs & Co. accountable for their actions. There was not only accountability, which it held financial institutions accountable for misleading investors, showing that large firms can operate above the law. There was also investor protection. The case protected investors by emphasizing the need for accurate and transparent information and about financial products. There was also ethical behavior. It promoted ethical behavior practices and business practices and responsible decision making in the financial sector of this case. There was also transparency. The case highlighted the importance of disclosing all risk, especially with the complex financial products. Lastly, there was systematic reform. It emphasized the need for stronger regulatory oversight and reforms to prevent similar issues in the future. This case is relevant to businesses today by setting a line of how businesses should be ran when situations like this happen, how to go about them, and how to avoid them. Businesses or companies can use this case as a guideline and also learn valuable lessons as well. This is my works cited page. There is not only websites I use for my information, but also videos as well. Feel free to use any of these to see further into the case and learn more about the situation. This is the end of my slideshow on SEC versus Goldman Sachs. Thank you all for staying and listening. I hope y'all have learned more about this case and used this to understand the case better. Y'all have a good day.